This is LA's first.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome to the Dr. Aaron Show. We're all about manifestation, transformation, and breakthroughs. It's time to claim your birthright of prosperity, vitality, and love. So grab your tea or coffee because together we're awakening the world. May you live your truth. Live from Los Angeles, this is Dr. Aaron. We come together each day to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, and align with universal law. We also come together as a community in Society in New Thought Global to know the truth for each and every one of us and understand that we each have a gift and a message to bring to the world. And together we are awakening the world through new thought, principles, through science of mind, unity, divine science, understanding that there's a creative factor going on in this world, and it is you. It is the truth of who you are. It is your divinity, and that's what we're here to do, is to awaken your true self and have you live in alignment with your unique truth. So today I want to talk to you about universal law of polarity. We are going through a series of all the different universal laws, and there's only one law. It's called the law of cause and effect, okay? And it's basically here to teach you the demonstration of your consciousness on form in this 3D realm, right? So we have 52 distinctions that we're going over on this podcast about how to understand and really utilize the truth of who you are. It's not like universal law is outside there and you get to choose to use it. You're using it 24/7. It is how you demonstrate, how you manifest. It is the physics of the universe. It's really making the link between the ethereal realm and the physical realm, how consciousness comes into form and directs energy. And so today is universal law of polarity. And why the hell do we care about universal law of polarity? Because the entire existence of what we do in spiritual work is shifting back to the true identity. So I remember, I'll never ever forget, I was in ministerial school, and I remember reading Thomas Troward. He was this brilliant man who was really merging the East principles with Christianity in the Western principles and really bringing mysticism, Christian mysticism into place. Brilliant man. He was a lawyer that went really spiritual, which I love so much because he was very, pragmatic and had 2 feet on the ground, if you would. And I'll never forget reading the concept that we are so powerful that the minute we even contemplate who we are, we set the entire universal law into motion, that is the polarity, that polarity really is the speed of consciousness. It literally, we live in like a binary system. And I love bringing it down to the concept of that we're like a computer system, because literally energy comes down to that. It's a positive, negative, right? Literally binary code. And if you understand polarity, you understand it all comes from the perception and contemplation of who you are. So imagine if you really got down to brass tacks of really diving into that. And that's what we do, of course, in the E4 trauma method and getting into the subconscious processes and birthing your truth through Truth Triangle. But the truth is that you can go into meditation at home and you can really begin to ask yourself the simple question, who am I? Who do you contemplate yourself? Who do you consider yourself to be? And so why does this really matter in our life? And I really want to break it down in the realm of relationship, because all of life is a relationship. And I know that I talk a lot about how I dealt with codependency a majority of my life, and the dysfunction and the roller coaster and the ins and outs and the breaking up and the getting back and the heartache and the trauma and the drama and the da-da-da-da-da, right? Dealing with, being codependent and love avoidant to clinging, you complete me, to being the abandoner, to being the abandonee, to being the victim, to being the perpetrator, right? All those things that we all do. And this all comes down to the law of polarity. So I want you to really break down this. So first, let's just define, what is the law of polarity? The law of polarity is set into motion by spirit, your higher self, your true self, contemplating its own identity. The moment you consider something to be, it sets universal law into motion. Beliefs, who you be and live, beliefs within the soul activate and direct energy. Intention, attention, initiation, and selection set the mechanics into motion. So how does this apply to our life? So we all have had those friends, that girlfriend, that boyfriend, whatever it is, a friend that calls you up and they are complaining about their partner and they're dramatizing it over and over again. Or we all have those girlfriends that call up and they're madly in love and they start falling off the planet. And then they, sure enough, a few months later, they call you and they're like, oh, he's a jerk. And oh my gosh, he didn't do this and that. And it's over and da-da-da, right? Or you have the people that are just like, I don't need love. You know what? I just really, just not for me, right? They're like total love avoidance, right? Or we have the clinger, like, oh my gosh, he completes me. I just want the one. I'm looking for my soulmate. I just have to have this one, right? Or you have the victim, like, oh my gosh, he was a narcissist and oh my gosh, he ruined my life. And let me tell you all the awful things that he did. Or you have the perpetrator who just like literally is just like, I don't know how they would act. Maybe they would be very covert, I guess. So we have to look at how is this playing into polarity. And polarity is interesting because if you break down kind of the definition in the dictionary, because I'm a big etymology and dictionary person, polarity is considered the quality or condition inherent in a body that exhibits opposite properties or powers in opposite parts or directions, or that exhibits contrasted properties or powers in contrast parts or directions. Okay, it's the condition of having poles. Okay, so if you look at physics, it's really fascinating because if you look at water, hydrogen and oxygen, H2O, right? So if you take a look at the molecule, it's really fascinating because the hydrogen, I am not a physicist, but from what I understand, it has this pole that it actually is like lacking something in it, and the oxygen goes onto it, and the hydrogen literally pulls the oxygen, and the oxygen is literally trying to detach from the hydrogen, and it creates this polarity. It creates this pull that has it become this miraculous thing, right? Without water, we would not have life. And so in some ways, polarity can be a beautiful thing in this universe and create all kinds of things, but it really is instill that resistance and one clinging and one trying to resist, if you will, that is creating the actual polarity. And so when we take a look at polarity, it's actually, from a spiritual perspective, it is a lie that creates polarity. It is something that you are already the divinity, you are already the divine, you are already all of that, and it is the contemplation that you are something other than that. You are the divided aspect of yourself, the limited belief. And so it creates this polarity within your own soul, if you will. Because literally everything you believe, be and live, actually creates energetic, it creates an actual ripple effect into the universe that reflects back in a mirroring effect. And the same thing happens with a relationship. And we all know it. Like if you are somebody who needs to be abandoned, like you believe you've been through enough trauma and you believe all love, leaves, all people you love leave, you will only call in people that are going to abandon you. Even if they weren't even abandoned, people that are normally abandoned, you would create them into existence to be somebody who abandons you, right? If you're somebody who's always a love avoidant, no matter what, even the perfect person can come in or whatever, you will find an excuse of why it's not right for you, right? If you are a victim can't be a victim without a perpetrator, right? So it is actually in resisting. It's in making it wrong, if you will, judging that perpetrators are bad or that someone that leaves is bad or that love is bad or whatever. It is in the judgment of it that you're creating over and over again, the identity that you are somebody that is, could I say, unlovable or whatever, right? So we have to look at the perfect vacuum of what happens at a subconscious level and at a soul level with all relationships, that there has to be a perfect reflection of what's going on at a soul level that creates that polarity and literally attracts the same type of situation over and over again. And so we have to ask, why? Why do some people create, and you'll see it over and over again, they create the same type of relationships over and over again? The characters change, but the theme stays the same, right? So it's because of the polarity. It's how they identify. It is the limited beliefs through the trauma that they've, experienced at a soul level, and they've had a declaration, commands, we call it, into their subconscious mind. So the question is, how do you break the vicious cycle of relationships? Because whether it's in a love relationship or whether it's, you keep having these partners in business that keep ripping you off, or whether it is, your friends, blah, 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 right? Whatever limited story you have, the same theme over and over again. So how do we break this cycle? And particularly the dysfunctional relationships, because it seems to be the most intense for most people, is always the same. It's always the same 4 steps. It's first really waking up and really becoming conscious to see how you are creating this, to really understand and take 100% responsibility in whatever is going on in your life, and really taking a look at how you have manifested the same situation over and over again, or keep going through the same vicious cycle over and over again, that you are responsible for the upsets. You're upset. You're responsible for the dysfunction in your relationship. You have to be. No, it takes 2 to tango, and therefore you are 1,000% responsible. Okay. And in this first step includes deciding, to powerfully decide, you know what, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't know how I'm going to heal. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm just powerfully deciding. I decide this is over. I'm no longer going to have this identity that love hurts, that I'm not I'm not available for love, or that I'm not worthy of love, or so on and so forth. Okay. The first step is always to decide, to wake up and decide. Okay. It's one and the same. The second step always is to reprogram the subconscious mind. That means deprogramming the subconscious mind from limited beliefs, limited identities, and doing the E4 trauma method and the truth triangle, and really getting clear and releasing those limited beliefs, okay? And the next is aligning to your truth, really discovering what are your core values, what really matters to you, what are you committed to, what are your must-haves in relationship. Who do you want to be, and what are the principles that you want to embody, so that you can be the reflection and attract people that are in accordance with your core values and your principles that you embody. Oftentimes we want other people to be kind, whatever, but we're not kind. We want somebody to show up as, beautiful, but we're kind of let ourselves go. We want to have someone show up as rich, but we're, broke, right? Like, we want to embody what we want to seek, right? And then the last step is to affirm every day and every way, through your spiritual practice, through the words that you speak, through visioning, through affirmative prayer, through all of it. So the 4 steps again are wake up and decide, basically. 2 is to reprogram the subconscious mind. And number 3 is to align. And number 4 is to affirm. And so the truth is that you are, there's nothing as, I don't know if it was Thomas Chord, but he said, one of the great minds said, the soul is not neutral. The soul is not neutral. And that means exactly what we're talking about. That you have an identity in your soul, okay? Unless you are an enlightened master walking the planet, you have polarity going on at a soul level because of the identity that is not the I am. So as long as you are in human form and experiencing yourself you will have polarity, okay? It's pretty much impossible not to have polarity on this planet. You will be setting energy into form just by being who you are, okay? You don't have to do anything for polarity, the universal law of polarity, to play itself out, okay? So today, as you go into your day, really take a look and realize that life is all about electricity, magnetism, and all of this. The polarity is who you are. That everything is there's a relationship to everything. You have a relationship to your phone. You have a relationship to life. You have a relationship to money. You have a relationship to your partner. You have a relationship to your friends. You have a relationship to your body. You have a relationship to food. It's all a relationship, and how you identify in relationship, how you relate to that is going to set all kinds of things in motion. So become aware today and recognize the poles, and recognize how far you're swinging in your poles of good and bad, and identifying as the effect of life. And so in this, I recognize freedom from it. You can still have polarity and experience polarity, but not really identify. Become the witnesser, become the observer that recognizes that you're having this human experience. But the truth is, you're a divine, all-powerful, all-knowing spiritual being, that this is an experience, and just enjoy the incredible journey and ride. And as I know this, I simply know that you have the power to live your truth, to love your life, and to create new polarity in your life, okay? So have a beautiful day, and may you live the truth. Thank you for tuning in to Soulciety and Dr. Erin podcast. If you've had a calling to be a spiritual leader or coach, you can go to soulciety.com and check out our free training. If you've received value here, I would love it if you take a moment and give a 5-star review. In exchange, I have a ton of free gifts for you. Grab your free Awakening book, 40 guided meditations, and digital manifesting masterclass. I also have a free money meditation and worksheet for you so you can begin to break through your scarcity mindset and claim your birthright of prosperity. You can get all of your gifts and learn about our upcoming transformational events in my bio link in both Instagram and Facebook. That's under drerin.tv, which is DRERIN.tv. Also, I'd love to invite you into our free private community on Facebook under groups called Soulciety. That is facebook.com/groups/Soulciety. That's SOULCIETE. Have a divine day and may you live your truth.